guys, so today I'm going to be needle felting a emu/ostrich for my boyfriend's grandma. They are her absolute favorite animal. She's obsessed with them, and I want to do something special for Christmas for her. So let's get started. So I'm starting off with these pipe cleaners that I cut to size for the legs. And now I'm just showing you all of the colors that I selected. Some of these I didn't end up using, but I always like to get it out all at first. So the one you just saw is actually polyfill. I'm going to be using that for the structure. So some blacks, some browns, some tans, a forest green I did end up using, and some white wool. Some gray. Yay, super fun. So what I'm going to get started with is the polyfill. I like to use polyfill because you can get a whole bunch of it for cheap. If I were to just use the solid wool, it would be a lot more expensive. So I'm just selecting my needles here. I'm going with the largest needle size that I have. And I find that the polyfill also holds its shape a lot better than the wool and is easier to felt. So I'm just going around, turning it over to make a general spherical shape. Nothing too complicated. Once it's still really fluffy, but in somewhat of a ball, I'm going to make some small holes to put in the pipe cleaners for the legs and the feet. And I'm just going to felt around the pipe cleaner, being careful not to hit the actual metal that's on the inside. And I like using pipe cleaners instead of just regular wire for armature because I find it's easier to attach with the little bits of fuzzy that are on there. So even though I cut the legs evenly, I want to make sure that I'm felting them in evenly at the same length as well. So that's why I was just double checking there. Next, I'm going to cut to size the neck that I'm going to be attaching the head to. Ostriches and emus have these like super long, cute necks. I love them. And surprisingly, regular scissors were strong enough to cut these pipe cleaners. I didn't need to use wire cutters or anything. So like I did before, I'm just poking in a little hole and then felting around like the legs. Here I'm showing that I'm refining the shape slightly to create sort of a teardrop shape. The tail feathers come to a point and the belly is rounded. It's still relatively soft and squishy. I wanted this to be more fun for her to play with and squish because she is getting a bit older. I want her to have something fun and tactile to play with, different textures and that sort of thing. So now I'm picking out my body colors. I'm picking out this gray and brown, and this tan I'm going to use for the legs and the neck. So I'm being careful of pulling the wool in the same direction so I can more easily wrap it around the legs. If it was all crumpled together, the wool was going in all different directions, it would be more difficult to evenly wrap. So I do like to try to keep my wool nice and neat, and I don't like to crumple it all together for reasons like this. So yeah, I'm literally just wrapping it around. It looks like it's wearing a big tan scarf. Nothing too difficult, but I do like to kind of wrap it in the opposite direction where the pipe cleaner is sticking out so that there's nothing sharp sticking out. And I'm going to do some felting. So I start by felting on each side of the pipe cleaner, and as I turn it, I felt on each side again. So that's what I'm doing here. And then I flip it and felt on each side again. I'm also careful to felt really, really well around the tip of the pipe cleaner, again, so that there's nothing poking out. And now I felt the beige into the white base to create more stability. I did leave this little ball on the top. That's me bending it to show you it still bends. So the little ball on the top is going to be for the head and the face. So I'm now going to pinch the head between my fingers and felt horizontally to the neck and push down where I'm pinching. If you pinch the wool in a certain direction and felt, oh, I hurt myself. Just the way that I'm felting is to make sure that the head is turning. This is me showing that my heart rate got really high and I had to take a break and I almost passed out. All right, we're all good again. So I love this because I could do it in bed and not worry about my heart rate as much, but of course it still likes to play tricks on me. So I'm gonna show you guys that I messed up. I wanted to do plain gray feet and I wrapped it around the ends of the feet and I put way too much wool. I made the feet way too big. It looked like webbed duck feet. It was so funny. I wanted to keep it in to show you guys that, like, I make mistakes a lot when it comes to this. And especially my first time doing something, I like to try different things out. But what's also really cool about needle felting is if you don't like something, you can literally just rip it off of there. Like, you can just cut it off. So I'm spending all this time trying to wrap it around and make it look good. And around this point, I realized, like, oh my gosh, it looks like he's wearing big boots. It doesn't look good. But maybe if I felt more, it'll get smaller because felt does that. And I ended up just ripping it off and redoing it. So this is me trying to check on it. And I'm like, what the heck did I do? What is that? I tried to make like these little toes by cutting it with scissors. And it just... it looked so silly. It does not look like ostrich feet at all. I was trying really hard to save it, and I ended up scrapping it. So this is me showing you how silly it looks. I spent probably like 15 minutes on this foot, so I'm showing you that you can just rip it off. Like, it's therapeutic too, because I was kind of upset. Not too angry, but I was a little upset. So I'm just cutting it and ripping it off. It's not that big of a deal. You can always redo it. And I ended up doing the feet last because I wanted to think for a while about how I was going to do it. I did end up having to refelt the entire leg because I was being so rough trying to get the gray off. But again, no big deal. I enjoy the process and I learned from my mistakes. Little Pedialyte break. Gotta stay hydrated. Please sponsor me. Thank you. So finally, I'm working on the body. I was so excited for this part. I'm showing you guys how I mix two colors. I didn't want them to be fully mixed. I wanted some variation. So you layer the colors on top of each other, you rip them apart, and then you keep shuffling like cards. Sometimes I like to keep the wool going in the same direction if I'm going to be wrapping or adding it like fur. But because I was using it as a cover sort of thing, I crumpled it in all sorts of different directions. I wanted the variation to be going all over, be kind of swirly, kind of random. If you do want to fully mix colors together, you should use like a carding machine if you want that like seamless blend. I don't have one of those and I like the different variations anyway. So this is me just measuring out how much wool I want to use. I did end up blending way too much, but I know that no wool will ever go to waste anyway. I still have to do the wings. I'm also trying to shape where I want the belly color to be. So you can see me realize I went a little bit too far down. And just going all around, nothing too special because I already have the shape down. I don't have to be too careful about any sort of shaping. I'm just doing an overlay. This is me ripping it up a little bit so that I can have that belly color underneath. This is me showing the belly and that I still have the shape going on. I did leave it super fluffy and bumpy again for that tactile sort of thing so that it's more fun to play with. Here I'm going to be showing you how I'm making the wings. That little hand motion was for the wings. So I'm just measuring out the wool, doing a light sort of ball shape. and measuring it again. So when I'm attaching it, I'm just going around the edges at first to really get that shape down and attach it. It can be a little overwhelming attaching loose wool that you're going to end up shaping, but I wanted a super fluffy middle and then a super tight edge to give that like definition. And when I'm felting the actual wing itself, I'm being careful not to go into the body and just felt the top layer of the wool. It creates a harder layer with a softer inside, so it's fun to squish and play with. It's not just like one uniform solid thing. It has like some more variation to it. Can you tell I like to play with my needle felted figures? Can you tell I like to squish them? And I think about how I'm going to squish them when I'm making it. So this is just me doing some more outlining. I'm trying to create that teardrop shape of the wing. This emu ostrich thing is not anatomically correct. I'm also interchanging emu and ostrich because they kind of look the same to me. So actual ostrich wings aren't this teardrop shape, but I wanted a teardrop shape. You can do whatever you want, guys. So I thought that I was done. You can see it's still bumpy and fluffy, so it's fun. It has that teardrop shape, but I realized looking from this angle that it didn't quite have the definition that I wanted. So I'm adding some more definition there. It's very important to check all angles because it is 3D. And I'm going to be shaping the backside of the wing so that it sticks out a little bit. It's not completely flush to the body. So you really can felt from any direction, guys. It's crazy. Look at that. Look at the little wing. He is looking so cute so far. I'm just checking my work from both sides. I added the other wing. Is one wing bigger than the other? Yeah, maybe it is, but it's fine. Here I'm going to be mixing the tan with the gray. I thought that I had a lot less white than I did. I wanted to do the white and the gray, but I was like, you know what? I don't want to waste my white wool. I only have so much of it. I ended up putting it on the body, hating it, double checking how much white wool I have, and realizing that I have a full packet of white wool. So again, we all make mistakes, guys. It's okay. This is me being like, oh my gosh, it's way too dark. I have to add some more beige. And when I put it up against the ostrich that you'll see in a minute, I absolutely hated it. But I was like, you know what? We do what we gotta do. And I even felted it on and I just ripped it off. I was like, you know what? This is awful. I hate it. So now that all of the belly fur is ripped off, I am picking out the gray from what I had mixed so I didn't waste it. And I'm adding the white and blending it like I normally would. I don't mind picking out a color out of something I've already blended. I think it's satisfying, and if I hate the blend that I made, I don't want to just throw it away. Like, obviously, you know, I'm never throwing away wool, absolutely not. So now I'm putting it together, and I'm like, oh, that looks so much better. It looks so much better. I'm just adding some more white here, and then I'm going to felt it on. So now I'm just cutting off the extra little bits, super fun, and I realized that I kind of wanted to have long fluffy tail feathers. So I left a little bit sticking out, and you'll see in a second that I end up adding more wool. So if you add wool going in the same direction and just attach the base, you can have fur or hair or feathers, whatever you'd like, that's super fluffy and fun to play with. So I realized that's definitely not enough and it's all falling out. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to grab some more wool. And when you grab your wool, you want to pull on it and find a piece that is more structurally sound. And no matter how much you pull on it, it doesn't come apart or fray or anything like that. And I'm just attaching the very base and tugging as I go to see what needs to be more attached. You want to felt very, very deep when you're doing this and really get it in there, especially if you're giving it to someone who's going to play with it. So I'm doing the same test for the white to make sure that it's all the same direction and all the same length, and attaching just the very base with the rest of the wool hanging out. Here you can see that it's super long and fluffy. I'm testing the durability. I'm going to play with it in all different types of ways, all different types of directions. I am now cutting it to the shape that I would like. Ostrich tail feathers are more rounded, kind of like a fan, but I wanted a more pointy look because it's what I wanted. There are no rules. Here's me playing with it some more. I'm going to twist it, flick it, make sure it's super, super on there. I think you have a little bit of twisting action going on. And this also helps to fluff it up a little bit because I didn't want it to look super unnatural. So I realized that there's a little bit more that I wanted to cut off, make it just a bit more rounded. And I'm taking my needle to really fluff it up and move it around. So it's super big and fluffy. I don't want it to be very uniform. I want it to kind of be going all over the place. That's me checking the length. Super cute. Is that the butt? No, it's not the butt. Don't show the butt. That's rude. Oh my goodness. So I'm trying the feet again. Guys, I'm trying the feet again. I decided to do tan mixed with gray instead of just gray. I'm wrapping it around kind of thick, but not as big as the gray was before, kind of like a happy medium. And I'm attaching it just like you would any wool going over a pipe cleaner. Trying to keep a bit of a rounded edge though for that foot shape. Here I'm trying to see if it will stand up on its own. And I'm checking the little feet. I didn't do any defined toes. I didn't do any claws. I was so sick of the feet. I was like, you know what? It's good enough. It'll be fine. Now I'm going to work on the face and get it to be more of a face shape and have more of that beak shape. It is a very small little face, so I'm being super careful not to poke myself. And I'm felting from all directions to give it that structure from every angle. Now I'm getting a little bit of black wool for the eyes. I'm not making the beak a different color, honestly, just because I didn't feel like it. I'm also using a super small needle to attach the eye so that I don't change the shape of the face. I am just attaching the black felt on top. That's me sizing it up, realizing it's way too big, so I cut it just a little bit tinier. They have these like really weird little beady eyes, but they're still super, super cute. If I were making a larger ostrich, I would add little fake eyelashes because they have such pretty eyelashes. They're so cute. But yeah, and I'm just going on like the very surface level so that the black doesn't peek through to the other side, especially because it's such a small amount of wool that I'm felting on. I really want to make sure that I'm not pushing that black all the way through. So that's the other eyeball. It's a lot smaller, but you know what? It's okay. That's me posing it. It can go all the way around, super fun. Those are the little feet. I actually did end up cutting the feet smaller. So this is him in all of his glory. Isn't he so beautiful? He's not perfect, but I still think that he's really cute and that my boyfriend's grandma will really, really love him. I think she's going to be absolutely obsessed. Look at the little butt. Oh, don't look at the little butt. Super fun, super squishy. He doesn't stand very well, but that's okay. You know, he can just sit and he's happy sitting. He looks so happy. Thank you for watching.